Welcome back to another episode of the Girls Stop Playing podcast. It's your favorite homegirl, Koereyelle, here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. You already know that I believe you can make the money and you can get the honey. You can have it all as long as you are willing to work. And it is my goal to bring you the information and the conversation to help you do just that. Now, before we get into this week's solo sermon, I got to give y'all just a couple of announcements, updates. Let me pull out my little church bulletin so that I can make sure that you are staying connected with all the things that are coming down the pipeline. First things first, if you have not heard, I don't know where you've been, sis, but WERK University has relaunched. We are back. We are bigger. We are better than ever. If you didn't know, WERK University is the first Black woman-owned online trade school that is on a mission to connect Black women all around the world with the resources that they need so they can turn their existing skills into new streams of income. Inside of WERK University, we have a full curriculum that teaches you how to start, grow, or scale your business. We have a community of goal friends, like-spirited, like-minded, business-minded women from all different backgrounds, from all around the world, to help you on your journey to success. And if you want to learn more about how you can connect with our curriculum, with our content, and get inside of our community, make sure you log on to workuniversity.com. And you already know that's a work with an E. I also am so excited to share that I released a brand new party game that's going to help you take your girls' night, your game night, your family reunion, your girls' getaway, your date night to another level, okay? If you want to add some spice to your night, definitely grab your deck of the Pull Your Card playing game. So what I did is I basically combined 5 of my favorite games, from taboo to heads up, this or that, categories, and even never ever have I ever. We also got some trivia in there for y'all, okay? So you pick your poison, pull your card, and see if you can test your gangster with this Pull Your card game. You can log on to pullyourcard.com to grab a deck and support your girl. Last but not least, y'all are like the first to hear about this, okay? I haven't even shared this like with anybody. If you follow me on the gram, you ain't heard about this yet. But I have been putting the final touches on a brand new book that I'm so excited about, literally sending it to print within the next week. And this book is the first inside of the Save Yourself series. So y'all know that I truly believe that nobody is coming to save you. I am living proof that when life comes at you fast, when you find yourself knocked down in the middle of a struggle, you have to figure out how to pull yourself up and literally save yourself. And so I have come together in a collaborative book project with a couple of other amazing women who have some truly inspirational stories. And we have put together this Save Yourself guide that's not just going to inspire you through the things that we've been through, but really help you figure out how to navigate the things you might be going through so that you can truly start living a life that you love, living the life that you were born to live, being able to answer the calling that God has on your life. And you know, these solo sermons, I'm always telling you to start praying to God for clarity on what it is that you are being called to do. And so, yes, you need to pray, but then you also got to put yourself in position so that you can collect all of these blessings that God has for you. You got to give God something to bless. And so inside of this guide, we're literally teaching you how we did it and how you can do it too. So what I did is I created a wait list for you to be able to get first access when the book drops. So all you got to do is check out the show notes, get your name on that list, and then you will be the first to find out when it's available for you. But trust me, you are not going to want to miss out, okay? And if you feel like, yo, I'm already saving myself, buy a copy for a friend, okay? Gift it to a friend. And this week's episode is actually all about friendship, okay? It's all about friendship. And it was truly inspired by a podcast interview that I did a couple days ago. Okay, I was actually being interviewed for someone's podcast, and one of the questions that always comes up is like, how did I get started in business? What was the motivation, the inspiration behind my entrepreneurial journey? And for those of y'all who don't know, I've been a side hustler since I was 16, okay? But my first real business, like the brand that truly put me on the map, was called the Single Wives Club. Single women preparing to become wives, okay? It was a organization, a relationship readiness organization where I, a single woman, had gotten out of an abusive relationship where I was engaged to be married and realized that I still had very real hopes and aspirations of becoming a wife. Even though I didn't make the right decision with who I was engaged to, I knew that I wanted to get it right the next time. And I never wanted to go through anything as traumatic and toxic as what I had just experienced. And so I started the Single Wives Club as a group to help myself, really help my homegirls, and then it just became like this global organization. And so I was sharing that story, and one of the questions that the host asked me, she was like, what happened when y'all broke up? Like, did you have any of your friends or your family after the fact that were like, I knew something wasn't right with him? And I don't know that I've ever been asked that question before, but it's definitely a thought that I've had, to myself, a conversation that I've had with myself about what real friendship really means and what true friends like do for one another. And there were definitely a handful of friends who, after I called off the engagement, after, we broke up and I put my pride aside and finally started telling people what was going on, I had a couple friends who was giving me the side eye that was like, you know what? I knew something wasn't right. He seemed a little crazy. I was wondering. And I was just blown away because I'm a super private person. So although this was an abusive relationship, although he was doing some crazy, toxic, traumatizing stuff, I didn't tell anybody. I mean, I told his parents because, those are your parents. I don't have any real tie to your parents, and they need to know what you over here doing, how you cutting up. But I didn't tell any of my people. So I didn't tell my friends. I didn't tell my family because I was just too embarrassed that I was going through these things. And so after the fact, when ish hit the fan and when I started, really telling my truth, some of my friends, like I said, they weren't very surprised. They were actually like, I was thinking about saying something to you. I was thinking about asking you about that. And I really felt some type of way. I can't lie to you. I felt some type of way at their reaction because I don't know why anybody would think that it was okay to feel like their friend was going through something, to feel like their friend was making a mistake, to feel like their friend was literally risking their life, because who you marry is, one of the biggest decisions, one of the most important decisions that you'll ever make. So to think that my friends were like literally willing to not just sit on the sidelines, but these are people who were going to be in my wedding, like these were my girls. And to think that they were literally willing to just sit by and let me just like ruin my life, that didn't sit well with me. And I have never been the type of person that can like hold my tongue if I care about you. And I definitely think because of what I've been through in this situation, that sense of needing to say something has just gotten stronger, right? So I've definitely had friends who I felt like were dating, I don't even want to say the wrong person, but I've had friends who I felt like were not making the best decisions, not based on what I thought was right or wrong, but literally based on what they said that they wanted, saying they want one thing, but then settling for something else, or just not making the most healthy decisions, where it's not a judgmental thing. It's not where I feel like I know better than you, but it's literally like, girl, Now, you know, it's like, girl, stop playing. You already know that this is not going anywhere. You already know how this is going to end up. You already know that this person is not worth your time. You already know that this situation is a waste of your time. Why are you wasting your time? I've always been that friend that's been willing to have those hard conversations. And I just feel like I don't want you to be that friend. So this week, my message for you is don't be that friend, okay? Don't be that friend that is willing to let your friends, these people that you call your friends, because we're going to talk about maybe they ain't really your friends, you know? If you are willing to let them crash and burn because you don't want them to be mad at you, I'm side-eyeing you. I'm side-eyeing you because I think that's a little selfish. You are willing to let them literally make a life-altering decision that could ruin their life, right? Not life-altering in a good way, like it's a risk worth taking because it, might end up, working out and being amazing and whatever. There are some situations that we know that our friends are in that are just trash, right? We all know, anybody with some common sense, we've had some homegirls, and it might be you, but most of us have had homegirls. I've definitely had a few, like 2 or 3, that have been involved with people who were not worthy of them. And now from the outside looking in, it's always easier, than when you're in it. Because when you're in it, you have emotions tied to it. You got, this fantasy idea of what you want, and you've been, writing your name, your first name and his last name, and thinking about what your kid's name's gonna be, and all of the things. And especially if y'all have been messing around or in a relationship for a long period of time, the deeper you get with people, the longer you stay with people, the more you feel like you can't turn back. The more you feel like I can't. It makes more sense for me to figure this out than it does for me to break up with them and start over. How many times have you told yourself that? How many times have you heard that from someone else? Like, I'm going to just stick with it because I've been in it for so long and I don't want to start over. Not a reason to stay in a relationship. Definitely not a reason to stay stuck in a situationship. Okay? But I don't want you to be that friend that's just sitting in the passenger side while your homegirl is just driving this thing and is about to wreck. Be willing to have those uncomfortable conversations. I've had some and I know that it's because of what I've been through. I know that hindsight is 20/20, and I can tell you 1,000% that if I would have went through with the marriage, if I would have married that man, my life would look totally different than it does right now. I don't even know if I would, this sounds dramatic, but I don't even know if I would still have a life. I don't even know if I would still be alive based on the way, that this relationship was going. And so God forbid something irreversible happened to me in that relationship. And then I got these so-called friends that were sitting around watching, seeing all the signs that I couldn't see because I was in it. Or maybe I was just ignoring the signs. Okay, blink, blink. And just willing to let me just make bad decisions. And a lot of times I think we don't want our friends to be mad at us. We don't want our friends to feel like we're judging them. But guess what? Sometimes some things need to be judged. And it doesn't have to come from a place of I'm better than you, but it can definitely come from a place of I care about you. So again, I've had these uncomfortable conversations. 2 friends, right, that I'm thinking about right now that come to mind have gotten mad at me. Like, I've risked it. Because at the end of the day, I would rather you be upset with me, but you at least consider what I'm saying. Like, I'm at least giving you something to think about, than for me to just sit on the sideline and watch you struggle, or sit on the sideline and continue to wipe your tears because of this toxic situation that you're in, or sit on the sideline and just listen to you complain. I'm not going to do that. Especially when what you are dealing with, what you are settling for, is not at all in alignment with the things that you have said out of your mouth that you want. So if you tell me that you want to, be married one day, you want a man who respects you and treats you right and all of the things that most of us want, and then I see you in this situation where you're constantly being disrespected, where you're obviously with someone who is not marriage minded, What do I look like calling myself my friend and just letting you, throw it all away, throw all your hopes and dreams and desires away because of this dude? I can't do it. And so I've had some friends that have gotten mad at me. I've had some friends that have, stopped telling me stuff. But guess what? Guess what, y'all? Your girl was right. And it's not to say that I know everything. But ladies, we got to learn how to trust our gut. We got to learn how to tap in and tune in to our intuition. I believe our gut instinct is our God instinct. I think that our intuition is our greatest gift from God as women. And we got to use our instincts on our friends, right? It's not just for us. It's not just for us. So when you see those signs, when you see those little hints and clues, you got to be willing to put your selfishness on the back burner, because your friend's safety, her sanity, her security could literally be on the line. And those friends who got mad at me, they came back around. They came back around. It might have been one of them, it was years later. One of them, we fell out literally for a year because she didn't want to admit to herself. It ain't even admitting to me, because I'm going to tell you what I think and then I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to badger you about it. I'm not going to beat you up about it. I'm not going to, mention it every time we talk. I'm just going to tell you, put it out there, and then you do with it what you want. But literally stopped talking to me because she didn't want to admit it to herself that she was in a toxic situation. Was willing to give up our friendship because she felt like I was judging her, only to come back around when it didn't work out to be like, girl, I was in some mess. I would rather be that friend that has to lose you for a little while so that you can find yourself. So again, this week's message, don't be that friend. What you say might literally save them. It's that serious. Okay, what you say might save their life. It's that serious. So don't be so selfish that you're only considering your feelings. Well, I don't want her to be mad at me. Well, what is she gonna say? Well, what if things go all the way left and her life is at risk? Okay, and again, I might be being a little dramatic, but maybe I'm not. Because in my opinion, your life isn't just at risk when you're in an abusive relationship. Your life is at risk if you end up pregnant by the wrong person. Okay, your life is at risk. Your hopes, your dreams, your goals, your desires, all of that is at risk if you end up in this life-altering situation because of a situationship with the wrong person. So I believe that real friends are willing to risk it, because your friends' safety, their sanity, their security is worth it. It's worth the risk. Minding your business might mess them up. Okay, minding your business might truly mess them up. And so you got to ask yourself, like, are these your real friends? Are these your real friends? Because if this is your true friend, if this is someone you truly care about, you will be willing to have those tough conversations. So don't be that friend. Don't be that friend that's so selfish, that's so insecure about what might happen, that's so worried about things going wrong with the conversation that you're literally willing to let your friend risk her life. Because that was me, y'all. Thank God for God. Okay, thank God that God finally got through to me. And what's crazy is it was actually my best friend who beat it out of me eventually, that forced me into having the conversation that led me to letting that man go. It was literally her seeing me crying, her hearing me arguing on the phone. And she did not let me say, oh, I don't want to talk about it. She didn't let me say, oh, nothing's wrong. She did not allow me to go into my little shell that I like to stay in. She's like, no, I can see something is wrong, right? I care about you enough to pull that out of you, to not let you just sweep it under the rug, to not let you act like nothing is wrong. And I'm willing to say that friend saved my life, because if it wasn't for that conversation where I had to say out of my mouth what was really going on, where I had to hear it, because sometimes you can go through things. Sometimes you can be strong enough to experience things when it's just you and you. When it's just you going through it and then you rationalizing it for yourself. But the moment I started speaking it, the moment I started saying and talking about what I had been going through, what this man had been doing to me, all of the things that had been happening, I couldn't believe it. It was like an out of body experience where it wasn't real until I heard it for myself. And I literally had to have a moment with myself where I'm like, what would your response be if you were one of your friends? If one of your friends was telling you that this is what they were going through, you would call her crazy. You would tell her she was worth so much more. She deserves so much more. And so thank God for that friend that forced me to talk about it. Thank God for that friend that didn't care about my feelings to the point where she was going to let me hide it. She didn't care that I was embarrassed. She didn't care that I was full of pride. She's like, no, sis, something is wrong and I need to know what it is. And it was because of that conversation. It was because she was willing to be a true friend, to have an uncomfortable conversation. It was because of that I was able to hear myself say those words that made it real. And it was literally that same exact day that I had that conversation that I turned around and told this man that I didn't want nothing to do with him anymore, called off the engagement, and then never saw him again. I ended up bumping into him like a year and a half later out somewhere in Atlanta. But as far as seeing him, like in a relationship, giving him an opportunity to explain himself, giving him an opportunity to work his way back in, never saw him again. Our connection was done on that day because of that conversation. So don't be that fake friend. Don't be that friend that just wants to be friends on Instagram. Don't be that friend that just wants to be surface level friends. Okay, if these are your true friends, these are people that you care about, be willing to go to bat for them. Be willing to have those tough conversations. Be willing to bear it all right? And understand when you have a true friend. Because being a true friend and having a true friend is all about vulnerability. I know that's like a curse word to us strong Black women, but you got to have real friends. As private as you may be, as much as you want to keep your business to yourself, true friends can literally save your life. I love you. I got nothing but love for you. I want nothing but love for you. I hope that this message reaches exactly who it was meant for. Share this show with a friend, okay? Tell a friend to stop playing. God has something so amazing for you, but you got to prepare yourself and position yourself to get it. See you on the next episode.